Okay, yeah. Yoo-hoo, you got it. Okay. So, welcome everybody. This is our first tech talk here in this venue. And tonight I would like to make like a very easy introduction to web components, right? And we're going to be using LitElement. That is one of the last version of the Polymer library. That's all. Let's start. Okay. Okay. So, wait. Hold your horses, Charlie. Okay. This is me, Joaquin Lopez. I'm working here in Singular. I'm from Spain. I moved here like 2 years ago. Now I'm based here in Dallas. There you have all my information, my Twitter, Dr. Waki, and also my LinkedIn profile. So if you need anything, you can contact me. Before I start, I would like to introduce a little our company, Singular. This is like the new claim that let's solve for digital together. Okay, so about Singular, what is Singular? Well, this is one of the peak of our office in Madrid. Is the headquarters is there. Who we are? Well, we are an international team of expert hands-on information technology problem solvers that helps companies leverage today's most cutting-edge digital technologies to create value and grow. Wow. You know, the marketing guys is used to be mouthful, right? Okay. Okay, so this is the team. Let's see if this works. Yeah, this is our CEO, Global. I'm the chairman, Jose Luis Vallejo. Alma Miller is the USA CEO. Cesar Camargo is our CTO. And the other are regional managers. That our regional manager for Dallas is Borja Roy. That today he is in Spain. So I'm here representing the company. Okay, where we work? We work in 4 countries right now. We are in Spain, that is where the headquarters is. But we also have offices in Mexico, in Chile. We opened a new one in Chile last year. In the USA, we are in several cities. We are in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in Boston, Massachusetts, in New York City, in New York, in Miami, Florida, here in Dallas, Texas, and also in Birmingham, Alabama. This is our digital key capabilities. Is something like the different things that we do in the company. The 80 or 90% of the things are custom the software development, but we also have other areas of expertise like machine learning, data science, virtual reality, augmented reality that we are doing a lot. Leslie, yeah. Since 1998, we are working for big companies all around the world. Here in the US, maybe you're gonna know BBVA or Santander, PNC, Pfizer, maybe Ferrovial also, Randstad. Well, some of the clients. I'm talking in numbers. The 91% of our employees are engineers. We have more than 10 million downloads of all the mobile apps that we develop for our clients. Near to 28 million of people use the digital channels that we create for our clients. We have more than 2,000 microservices architecture already implanted all around the world in backend system. We also are Singular members. Singular is member of Bayan. In case you don't know, Bayan is like a banking association in order to make a standard network of technologies related with banking. So they are trying to join S4 and work together to improve all the technologies. Okay, let's start. Okay, we talk about jelly. I'm going to tell you a story about jelly. So some years ago, some scientists make an experiment. They take a group of people. They give them, each of them, $1 off coupon, and they split them into different groups, and they bring them to a market, right? So one of the group go to a shop in which they only have 6 flavors of jam, right, of jelly, different fruits, but only 6. They was there. They was able to open the jar, try some samples, and decide if they want to purchase some of them or not, or whatever. And the other group moved to a different place in which they have plenty of flavors, plenty of 24 different kind of jelly, right? Then the time off, and they have to decide if they want to buy any of the jar, right? So, what do you think? The group that look at the 6 jar of jam, what do you think? How many of them do you think that bought a jar of jam in percentage? Okay, come on, 50%. Okay, 10%, 90%. Okay, I want to do this like, conversation. So if you have any question or something any moment, you can interrupt me. Was at 30% of purchase, okay? And what about the other group? The other group that was looking about 24 different kind of, you think that was higher, lower? Lower. Yes, was at 3%. So 10 times lower, right? So that happened because when you have a lot of options, you become overwhelmed and you don't know exactly which one you prefer, right? But when you reduce the amount of options that you have available, it's more easy to you decide which one is better, right? So this is very well described in this quote of Adi Osmani. Say, when presented with an abundance of choice, you can feel increasingly unsure of whether yours is the right one, right? So you don't know exactly, we should, maybe this one, no, because maybe this is so you have a lot of options and you cannot decide. And I'm telling you this story because this is happening to us a lot as software developers, because we have a lot of languages, a lot of frameworks, a lot of different technologies, and sometimes it's very difficult to us decide what is the best one for the project that we are working on, right? The same happen in all the industry. Maybe here in the US, for example, when you go and you want to rent an apartment, they don't show 20 apartments. They show you maybe 2 or 3 of them. So you have a small amount of option, and it's easy for you to decide, right? Adi Osmani, just in case that you don't know him, is a JavaScript guru that is working in Google, and is a very nice guy. I met him in Amsterdam like some years ago, and he's very involved in all these front-end projects. Okay, so to avoid that is when the web component arrive. So web components, I like to see them like Lego pieces, right? So to me, you think about a toy. Some years ago, without web component, or if you have not Legos and you think about a toy, you are thinking about a toy like a monolith thing, right? Something complete that you can buy by itself. But with Lego, you can build the toy that you want, and you can unbuild it and build a different thing. So the point here is we are building the pieces. We are not building the toy. You are building the pieces, and after that you can reuse the pieces to make a different toy, right? is in the way in which you combine that pieces is the powerful that has to create a different toys. So with the web component, it's the same. Instead to develop all the app, all the application, we're gonna be focused developing only the small pieces, the web components that we're gonna be able to reuse later in a different project or with a different, we can share it with a different team or person, right? So they are totally different at the standard that we have. So for example, if some years ago you need to put a video in a web page or an audio, you haven't any tag for do that in HTML. So you have to wait until somebody in a association decide that this new tag gonna be in the next version of HTML or something like that. But you have no control with this, right? Now with the web component, you can create your own tags. So there are low-level primitives that let you define your own HTML elements, right? Everybody, it's very serious, everybody here. You're following me? Yeah? Okay. So how we do that? So we're going to do that using 4 different specifications. There are templates, shadow DOM, custom elements, and JS import. Or ES modules is the same, right? So what are these things? The things are like standards that they create in order to be able to create that web components. So for example, custom elements. Custom element is a specification that that let us create an element, a tag with the name that we decide. The only rule is we need, they have two words separated by a hyphen. So in that way, you can know perfectly which of the tags are custom element that somebody create and which tag are native element that come in the HTML standard, right? After that, with template, you have to give some shape to your element. You have to give them a structure. Okay, we have the name, but we need to make like something with it, right? To put some colors or a shape, some HTML structure inside, so behavioring using JavaScript, something like that. So we want to put all of this inside a template. But the template, okay, is right, that we have the template right now. But what happened with the template with the rest of the code that is surrounding it? So you can have collisions with the code of your component and the rest of the code of the application. So to avoid that is when the other spec comes, the shadow DOM. A DOM, in just, you don't know, everybody knows what is a DOM? Yes, more or less. Okay. DOM is the document object model, right? So it's a model that describes us how the document gonna looks like. We have, has a tree shape, it's a tree. So in the root, we have the beginning of the document, and after that, each element that we have in the document is a node in that tree, and it connected with the other elements. Let us know how they inheritance properties or whatever from other elements. So with this specification, we can create a subtree of that big tree, and we can connect this subtree into the big tree. And in that way, we are encapsulating our code from the rest of the code of the page, or from the rest of the code of the different components, right? So if you are using a function or a variable name or something like that, you have no collision with the rest of the code in the application. And if your component stops working, doesn't affect the rest of the component, right? Okay, this is very cool, but I have all the code there on my component. I want to reuse in another place. I have to copy and paste the code, everything that I want to reuse it. Has no sense, right? So it's like some years ago, you have a snippet of code, with WordPress or whatever, and you want to reuse in another place, you have to copy and paste in PHP or whatever language that you was using. The code has no sense. So here is when JS import come to help us. So you can have your code in a file, and you can import that file into an HTML or into another JS file. Okay, how is the support of these technologies? Well, they are plenty stable right now, as you can see. All the main browsers, the last 2 versions of the main browser support them perfectly. Of course, Microsoft is the one that is, a little more lazy with these standard things, but they are working on it. They're developing this tool that is not ready yet, but that doesn't mean that it's not working. It's working, but they are using polyfill. Everybody knows what is a polyfill? No. Okay. A polyfill is an emulation of a feature that we haven't already native in the browser, but we want to use it. So we have that new feature implemented in JavaScript. So we load the JavaScript at the beginning, and then the browser is able to implement that feature, but it's not native, right? It's emulated in JavaScript. So it's gonna work, but probably gonna be slowest than the other browsers that haven't done in its own code, right? Okay, so that primitives are designed so we can build, and we should build, libraries on top of them, right? So these specifications are very tricky, are very complicated to use. So to make the life easy for us as developers, they create some libraries to syntactic sugar, right? To let us use it easy, more friendly. And here is where Polymer arrived, right? So what is Polymer? Polymer is a library from Google. They have a lot of years, but they are improving day by day, bit by bit, and reducing the fingerprint of the library as far as the browser are implementing native the support for this specification, right? So Polymer is a library, it's not a framework. It's a library to let us create web components, right? Polymer is not a framework. I just say that. So it doesn't come here to substitute Angular, React, or whatever. That is not the idea. The idea is that you can create your web components using Polymer, and after that you can use that component in the framework that you want, in Angular, in Vue, in React, whatever. And also you can use your framework to make the orchestration of your app, all the logic, the routes, everything, right? The controllers, the modules, but the components are isolated in these packages that you can build with Polymer, right? So that's the idea. So we have like different layers. The web platform is the native thing that they're implementing in the browsers, right? So some years ago, the only layer that we have in the top of the web platform was the existing frameworks. We have no components in the middle. So if you were working in Ember or in Angular JS or something like that, maybe your framework is discontinued, or you would like to move your app to a different framework, a different technology, was very, very difficult and very expensive. You have to rewrite and redo all the job, right? You cannot reuse anything. So the idea is to have the web components in the middle that you can build with Polymer or not. You can build with vanilla JavaScript, but it's a little more difficult, but you can do it. If you like the hard work. After that, you can take this component and use them in the existing framework, for sure to create all the application that you would like to have. So is Polymer ready? Yes. So Polymer, the last version that is the only Polymer name was the version 3. Now we have the LitElement, that is the new version. Is totally object-oriented, using classes. It's very small fingerprint. It's very light, very fast. But it's still part of the Polymer project, right? I think that now they are in the version 2.2.0. So it's production ready, and they encourage you to use it a lot and give them some feedback in order to improve. So, okay, let's go and build an element. So today we're gonna build this amazing element. Is the blue one, right? This one. I'm gonna be a banner in which we can show to the user a message, right? So it's the, hey user, something awesome happened. Okay, so we need a name, and the name gonna be alert banner, okay? As far as this custom name, a custom component, we have, as we was talking about, we have these at least two words separated by a hyphen. So in that way, we can know that this is a custom element. It's not native. This is the code of our component, right? It's in alert banner JS file. This is very, very, very small, simple code. So the first all is import all your dependencies, right? Here we are using this. I lose my pointer. Oh, here it is. So we are using this import. It's a new JS import. So we are importing these dependencies, the LitElement and the HTML helper, from the LitElement library, right? So this is right. In this case, it's a class and has the same name that your component. So the name is alert banner in camel case and extend LitElement class, right? It's very easy. This is part of the encapsulation that we was talking. The next one is the template and how we're gonna render the shape of our component. So we're gonna use a render function, and using the HTML helper function, passing up this new ECMAScript template, we're gonna give our element the shape that we need to render it, right? HTML, CSS, and everything. We will talk later about the local DOM and the light DOM, but very, very, very fast. Local DOM is the document object model that is for our component. And our component is responsible to manage and implement it. Okay, so let's go and add some styles to our component, right? So to do that, we need some CSS. I separate the structure of the pure style things here: background blue, color white, all the CSS that you would like to have. And also, it's very good practice to add these two things. You add a pseudo class with the display block. If you don't add the display block, the default behavior is gonna be inline. So your component gonna be like an inline component, and maybe 90% of the cases, the component that you are developing, you want a block there, right? So it's one of the good practice. And the other one is create another host with the hidden attribute, so you can hide your component if somebody decides to put display none or hide it or whatever. So these two things are part of the good practices. So that's why I want to put it here. And also, we are using here the CSS helper. And in order to be able to use it, we have to import it first, right, as a dependency. And this is the shape that we're going to give to our component. With this state, hey, user, something awesome happened. So this is the component going to look like. Okay, and this is the last part. You have to define your element. So here we are using one of the primitive to create our element. So what we are doing here is joining the name that we decide with the class that's going to be controlling our component, right? You say this tag, alert-banner, going to be related with this class that we already have implemented in JavaScript. Okay, so once that we have our component done, this is the other side. This is the light side, the light side. This could be any part of a web page of your app, or maybe the template of another component in which we are reusing our component. For sure, you have to add the dependencies at the top of the HTML5. You have to import the library, LitElement library. You have to import the polyfills, and also you have to import the JS file of your component, right? The alert banner JS. And once that you have that, you can use your component wherever you want, as easy as put this tag, and that's all. And appear, something like that. Okay. Okay, but you see, okay, but have a banner there that always say, hey, user, something awesome is happening. Doesn't look very useful, right? To have it hard-coded, the data there, it's not very usable. So how we can replace this hard-coded data for something more dynamic? We have to use content elements. So in this case, we're going to use a slot. And a slot, everybody know what the slot is? No? Okay. And a slot is, the slots are like containers. They're like empty containers that like specific spaces that you put in your component, and after that you can inject content from the outside into your component. If you have a slot without name, they're gonna receive all the content that you have in the outside between the open and close tag of your element. But if you would like to decide specifically what content go in which part of my component, you can name the slot. You can put a tag in the slot, specific name. So in this case, we decide name message, right? So that's gonna use the light DOM and the local DOM. The local DOM is the template or the structure inside our component. And the light DOM is everything that is outside of our component. So, coming back, this structure here, all this structure here, gonna be the template. This is gonna be the light DOM. The local DOM. Is the shadow DOM or the local DOM that is the same, is the structure inside our component. And the light DOM is outside, right? And how we can match them using the slot name, okay? I just say that. So this is the outside, this is the light DOM. And here we're gonna add some content between the tags, between the open and the close tag. We have this component, this content, and it's a span, can be whatever container that you want. The only thing is you have to put the name of the slot that match with the name of the slot container that you have in your structure. Yeah, for sure, the content. Succeed your first component. The slot name had to match, right? If it doesn't match, it doesn't gonna appear in any other place. And then looks like this. Success, our first component. Okay, but now we would like to, has a banner there. Always, it's like I want to appear or disappear. I want to be able to hide it or not, right? So we're gonna use this to introduce the next thing, that is the properties of the components. So before to do that, I would like to talk about the attributes. So this is input HTML, and when you click in the box there, when you click here in the box, it's gonna be checked, right? So it's gonna appear checked. I'm gonna be checked. So these are two different attributes. This is an HTML tag and has this attribute with a value, and also has this attribute without value. This is because this attribute that has no value, they are Boolean attributes. They only can be there or not. So if the attribute is there, the element is checked. If the attribute is not there, the element is not checked. So you also can manage this using JavaScript. Okay, here in LitElement, you have to use this because we are working with classes. So this and the name of the property in the component that in the HTML is an attribute, and the value in this case is a Boolean, so it has to be true, right, or false if you don't want to check it. Okay, let's do that here. This is the same component that we already have. We're gonna add some property here. How we create the properties? We have to use a static getter method with the name of properties, and we have to return an object with the name of the property and the type of that property. Also, we have more options, but we can let this for future talk. Basically, this is the type of the property that you want to have in your component. Can be a string, can be number, Boolean, an array, an object. You can be whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, but in that case, we need a Boolean to hide or not our component, right? So the name is shown, so we want the component is shown or not. And after that, to initialize the properties, we need to use the constructor of the class, right? If you know a little about object-oriented programming, always you have to, the first thing in a constructor function is to call the zapper. Okay, so the zapper function, and after that, using this dot shown, the same name of the property that we already created here, and we apply the initial value. In this case, false, sorry. Okay, now we have to bind that property with the element, the local element structure, right? So this is the most tricky part of the LitElement library. For example, if you want to bind a Boolean attribute, you have to start the HTML attribute with a closing interrogation. So if it's an array, for example, it's a dot. So there are different structure for the different kind of property. In that case, that is hidden is a Boolean attribute, and our property also is Boolean. So we have to start with this interrogation there. It's easy, right? We are binding here the value of this shown, but with a inverted logic. So if it's not shown, it's false. It's not shown, not shown become true. So hidden true is the same that shown false. So, okay. So we're gonna hide the object, right? So here is our, oh yeah, this is the outside. It's not the shown there, so the other banner doesn't gonna appear, right? When we add the shown property, then everything, the property, the attribute is bind through the property, and then the property is binded to the local DOM to hide them false, and then appear, right? So this is a very basic introduction to web components. All the, the basic things that you can do with a component. You can create your component, select a name. You can inject content from the outside in different areas of your template. Using the slot is the best practice, and you can control perfectly which content is in which area of your components. And using properties is the way in which you can make some behavioring of your components, right? And always remember, before to start doing a component, you can say that, hey, there is an element for that. So the next logic step that you think, okay, we have a component, we can reuse the component, where we can put that component. Okay, but let's do a catalog for the component, right? So we have a public catalog, is webcomponent.org. I recommend you that anytime that you're going to create a component, the first step is go to the catalog and make a search, try to look for another component that already exists. You can base your component in this one, you can inheritance that component and improve yours from that. And also you have collection from Google, from a lot of companies that is releasing their own component. And also you can public your own component, right? That's the power of the web component, that you can share in a community. Or maybe if you are shy and you think, oh, maybe my code is not so good to put it public, at least you can reuse your component in your team or in a different project, right? So that's all. You come and use the platform. That the standard is always the best. If you fall in the React model of component, or Angular 8 model of component, or Vue model of component, you're gonna be again in the same wheel. If you want to move to a different framework, you cannot. So I recommend you to do the component in a very standard way. So in that way you can move it. That's all. We are hiring in Singular. So if you want to join us, we have people.usa at singular.com. My name is Joaquin. Thank you. If you have any question, I'm going to be around here. Thank you. Okay, one more thing. Be careful. So now that we end is when they turn off the lights? Really? It's crazy. Yeah, take it. React is nice. It's very nice. The Redux is amazing. Oh, we have light again.
So, if you've been to our meetups before, we like to do a super awkward drawing at the end. And the reason it's awkward is that I pulled this list of everybody who RSVP'd through the meetup site. Is there anybody who did not RSVP on the meetup site? Okay. Usually what I do is, normally there's names here, but those are really hard to keep track of. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. And then I just have to go 1, 2, 3, and now there's 3 more people. So if it's one of those, I'll just remember 1, 2, 3. And I'll try to remember names. So what makes it so awkward is
so a component?
Half the people show up, and so usually the person who wins first isn't here. Ken Kellis. Is Ken Kellis here? Of course not, because they're never.
No.
Whoever wins first is never.
Ooh.
So let's see. And what's funny is it usually takes like 6 times, even though half the people are here. Christopher Eric Rodriguez. Here.
Yes, yeah. Woo!
G2G DevFest swag pack of a planter.
Congratulations.
Yes, and you got a little garden.
Woo!
So what? Yeah, there's a little planter with like seeds and stuff in there. So keep coming to the meetups.
Now I will.
Yeah, keep coming because we give that away every time. So, but I guess that concludes it. I know Joaquin, you'll be hanging around a little bit.
Yep, sure.
And, good. And then the food will be here.
You suppose that I had to be here at 7:30?
So it was here 30 minutes ago and we missed it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can call them. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
They don't appear there.
Doesn't
Okay.
Okay, so we will check on